Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to do a couple of videos to catch up on some of the topics I haven't had a chance to address lately, and do some shout outs for some people and cover a few things I haven't had a chance to do. This chart you're looking at, of course, is silver and where we are. Now this is actually a chart, if you will, of money in terms of paper. So this appearing to be a breakout bull market is a bull market of money, silver, in terms of worthless paper, the US dollar. Not too hard to see who's winning. A lot of debate lately on the debt limit and the national debt. I haven't commented much on this, been watching it play out. I think it's really can be considered nothing more than a charade. The fact that the Republicans are proposing a radical $60 billion, I should say, were proposing a radical $60 billion. They've now lowered it to a compromised $33 billion. Mind you, that's in the face of a $4 trillion budget, and I believe it was a $1.6 trillion deficit. So I think someone said the other day, I can't remember who it was, they said this is the equivalent of arguing over the bar tab on the Titanic. This thing is going down, they know it's going down, and this is just a matter of how many rats can get on lifeboats, and also how many can loot whatever's left, loot the furniture, loot the pipes, steal everything on the way out because this ship's going down. So I wanted to look at a article on Zero Hedge, really good article that just came up about the national debt, and I'm going to read this to you and I'm going to have a few things more to say about it. It's called The Dirty Secret of the Debt Ceiling Debate. Nobody Wants Treasuries, submitted by Mark McHugh. The Dirty Secret of the Debt Ceiling Debate. On this side of the rainbow, quote, how much money should an uncreditworthy entity be allowed to borrow, end quote, is a rhetorical question. In Washington, D.C., it's a topic of much rhetoric. In fiscal year 2009, Congress borrowed 53.5 cents of every dollar they spent. In fiscal year 2010, they borrowed 48 cents of every dollar. Check your numbers, Santelli. So they borrowed and spent $3.5 trillion to produce $255 billion in GDP growth, 7% efficiency. Never even bothered to pass a budget for fiscal year 2011, and still haven't managed to get a single bankster put in jail. Now, these whores are lecturing us about moral obligations. They also swear they're going to straighten up and fly right this time. There's one little detail they forgot to mention. No one actually wants to lend them money. Welcome to the last resort. Everybody knows the Federal Reserve has a unique ability to create money out of nothing. What most don't know is the Fed, not the Treasury, provides most of the explanations as to who's buying treasuries. Read the footnotes. So to those who said, I told you so, when the Treasury revised China's holdings by $268 billion in February, welcome to the pee-pee in your Coke moment. That revision brought China's purchases to $577 billion in the 2-year period ending June 2008. That was more than 5.5% of China's GDP, 116% of China's trade surplus with the U.S., more than 4 times China's defense budget. And you swallowed it. Of course, had you done even a little research, you'd have understood that the data is about as helpful as an 8-month-old snapshot of the universe. Quote, the collection of accurate country-level data on cross-border financial activity ranges from straightforward to virtually impossible, depending on the type of data to be collected and the method of collection, end quote, from Why Treasury's Data is Crap by the Federal Reserve. I can hear you still clinging to your Scooby-Doo thesis, but anyone who speaks of demand in the U.S. Treasury market at all displays their ignorance, like this is some giant game of hungry, hungry hippos. Take a peek at this report and you'll see that ownership is an antiquated concept when discussing U.S. debt. Transactions of long-term treasuries with foreigners during the last 2 fiscal years total more than $50 trillion. That's $160,000 per citizen. So if you insist on having a 6-year-old understanding of things, I suggest gnip gnop. Speaking of 6-year-olds, I blame the tooth fairy for all of this. Most American children's first blush with economics is the notion that somebody or something out there is actually willing to pay money for their crummy little teeth. It is a convenient lie that distracts children from the pain and anxiety of losing body parts. Most of us evolved beyond this delusion. The rest become U.S. congressmen and TV pundits. Face it, America, no one wants your debt. The tooth fairy is all you've got left, and it's been that way for a while now. When I fill up at the local gas station using my debit card, the money's gone from my account before I can drive home and log on to my bank's website. Less than 5 minutes. Details about treasury purchases are trickled out at an agonizingly slow pace that literally takes years to complete. That's right, years. This time delay, combined with explanations that are vague at best, make intelligent discussion about purchases of U.S. treasuries impossible. The more you dig into the data, the less sense it makes. With the recent release of the Fed's discount window activity, I'd like to know how many believe demand for the last $3.5 trillion of U.S. debt wasn't fueled entirely by the Fed. Now they're playing got your nose with us. So the next time Maria Bartiromo asks Lady Gaga, or whatever sock puppet she happens to have on her show, who will buy U.S. treasuries when the Fed steps away, an enlightened response might be, I have no idea who was buying U.S. treasuries before the Fed stepped in. Do you, Maria? To which she will most likely reply, so what sectors do you like going forward? And it goes on, and there's a lot of comments about it, but it's so disgusting that the financial games that are played. If you remember, I mentioned the earthquake and tsunami in Japan, and you remember the United States came riding forth with the G7. That was around in here, intervened in the currency markets. If you remember, their explanation was that they were intervening in the currency markets because of Japan and this tragedy. Well, what is this move? This is a support of the dollar. The dollar was collapsing against the yen, so how does this help Japan? So these people, they're a bunch of liars and shysters, crooks and criminals to a man. You can't believe a word they say. They're lying about the budget, they're lying about everything, and I don't know what they have planned. Maybe they have planned a complete collapse of the dollar and they knew it all along. I wanted to go ahead and give a shout out to Birchish's channel. She's got a channel that my wife suggested for me to look at, and it's really an excellent channel. This one article here, or one video she does here, US dollar controlled demolition, is excellent, and I highly recommend that you watch it and subscribe to her channel. I think she's got tremendous insight and is got great potential. So go ahead and subscribe to her, support her, and watch her videos. And we'll talk to you next time.